To order and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a quorum with 4 of us. Have a motion to open the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? The first part of our meeting is devoted to public comment. This is when anyone from the public can bring us an issue or concern you'd like us to be aware of. We probably won't act on it tonight, but we will consider putting it on a future agenda. Is there anyone who has anything for public comment tonight? Is that Sharon?
Yes.
Go ahead. Sharon,
Sharon, unmute yourself, man. Okay, try it now. No. We're not able to hear you. Would you check your microphone? You get it.
and we move on to approve the minutes and then.
Well, I think Tyler had his hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler.
Tyler Evans.
Okay, Tyler, why don't you go ahead and then if Sharon can get her sound up, we'll get the sound.
All right. So there's been some confusion, misinformation spread on the Belgrade Stream subdivision, and we're here to address any questions or concerns, and specifically related to the wetland delineation. That was done as part of that process, so a soil scientist Dale is here. So take the lead on that.
Yeah, like maybe this, hopefully it's the appropriate time to kind of provide comments. So I connected with Tyler last week. It sounded like there were some questions from maybe planning board or members of the public. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware. My name is Dale Knapp. I'm a certified soil scientist, a professional wetland scientist, and a licensed site evaluator here in the state of Maine. I personally performed the wetland delineation, was submitted as a part of this subdivision process. And so wanted to make sure that I was here to kind of clarify any questions you might have about how the process is conducted, how we report our findings, and make sure that you knew it was done by a licensed professional.
I just have a question. Is this also related to the warrant article consideration that's further down on the agenda?
Not necessarily.
No.
This was something that was brought up in public comment in previous meetings. So.
I'm just wondering if it should be an agenda item rather than public comment. But why don't you continue for a bit?
I'm not sure I have much else more. So, you know, the wetland delineation was performed based on the standards outlined in the Natural Resources Protection Act. The Army Corps of Engineers has a wetland delineation manual along with a bunch of supplements. So the process involved is essentially identifying areas where there's a prevalence of hydrophytic vegetation, hydric soils, and evidence of wetland hydrology. And so that really drives the process. And so what you see represented on this map are jurisdictional boundaries based on the standards in the NRPA. So I'm happy to stick around if there's more discussion later. Sorry if this wasn't the appropriate time to bring this up, but I'm just here to make sure that, you know, it's very clear in the record that this wetland was performed by me based on the existing rules.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sarah?
Can
you identify yourself, please?
My name is Sarah Langier, and I'm the chair of the planning board. I'm here tonight to help with the presentation of the warrant for the coming, town of Belgrade meeting in January. So, I have a few questions, for this gentleman, but we will defer to the warrant section, so if you can stick around, that'd be awesome.
Can you stay? Because I think that's about, usually what we do is for public comment is just raise an issue. And then, you know, perhaps it should have been on the warrant as a special article, on the agenda as a special article, but we can do it under the warrant article consideration. If that's okay.
From the planning board, we don't have any questions about the subdivision. That's already done and wrapped up. Anybody in the community have questions about that? I already voiced, to the planning board, to the select board that should go through a regular protocol, or is that doing an appeal to the appeals board. The subdivision is not in consideration here for the explanation he will do, is more to the, rebuilding of that shoreline zone map. And we have an item in the agenda for that tonight.
Right. Is that okay?
I-
Is everyone okay if we?
Yeah, I
That
think
all
it makes sense. to-
Yep. Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay, thank you. Anything else for public comment? Sharon, are you with us?
Am I?
Did you?
Am I with you?
Okay.
I thought I got it fixed, but I didn't want to interrupt anything. I just have a couple of quick little things I wanted to tell you. You may have noticed when you came in tonight that your walls are bare. I came and grabbed all the pictures that were on the walls, and we're going to redo those for you, update them, better pictures. And I just wanted to let let people know if there's anything, a topic or an area that you would like us to cover in pictures on the walls and so forth, just give us an idea, and we'll work on it. And we're going to plan to rotate these out, and so even if we didn't get it the first time, we might get it the second time. So just wanted to let you know that. And the second question I had was, if there has been any plans made or any talk or committees or anything on the 250th next year for 2026.
Right.
And the only reason I ask is it's 7 months away, really. And so I just wanted to bring it up, mention it, and ask how the Historical Society, of course, can help, and what we might be thinking along those lines. I'm sure you've been busy with other things, I know.
This sounds like something that would be more fun than some of what we deal with.
Right, exactly. But I just wanted to bring it up, that's all. So,
Okay, yeah, thanks for the nudge. We'll give it some thought and certainly involve you.
all right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, and I was thinking that maybe our town manager might want to make a public announcement about some exciting news that we had recently from Senator King and Senator Cullen's office.
Yeah, absolutely. So we received word, we submitted a congressionally directed spending CDS grant to the government for partial funding for a new fire station. We did that last year, and when they shut down and opened back up, they kind of erased all of those. So we lost out, but we submitted again with bipartisan support with Senators King and Collins. We received word last week that had passed through the Senate, the House, and on to the president's desk for a signature. So we have been awarded 4.7 million toward a new fire station, which is significant.
Yeah.
So many people worked on the project, so it
But
was awesome.
Lorna did an extraordinary part of getting the application filled out, pulled together, pushed to both offices, because each office had a different application. It doesn't make sense, but that's the way it is.
Did it twice.
So she did it twice and under really tight deadlines. So a big thank you to Lorna for making that
That's
happen.
good. Yeah, it's gonna be good for our community. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, next is reviewing and approving minutes of November 5th.
I was saying this.
We have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes, November 6th,
This,
that's 5th, I'm sorry. Whatever day it was. Second.
any comments?
Did you have any?
I just had one. On page 2, under audiovisual system funding. In the first sentence, additional funding for the audiovisual system installation will be split equally was approved. So I think it should be to be split equally was approved.
Okay.
Good.
But other than that, it looked good to me.
Okay.
Anything else? All in favor? Fine, Dan approves.
Okay.
They look good, other than a little when you said change.
Yeah. You know, this. Okay, do you want to take over, Dan?
Cool. Got boxes outside the same.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Oh, and Dan, just so you know, Tyler and, is it Dale? The soil scientist, were here during public comment, but, we suggested moving it to the, in with the discussion of the warrant article consideration.
Okay. Then- That's, we're at unfinished business, I assume now?
Yes.
Good. So. Budget committee bylaws.
So the board, at the recommendation of the select board at its October 21 meeting, the budget committee met briefly on October 27 and approved updating the committee bylaws to add 2 alternate positions. The select board reviewed the first draft at its November 5 meeting. Attached for review and consideration by the board is an updated draft version to include the alternates or associates. Language and optional vacancies section is taken from the Town of Belgrade Planning Board's guiding documents. So you have an updated, I sent that out to you this afternoon, copy. Which I think is much better, more clear, and can be the template for other committees.
And what we talked about 2 weeks ago was trying to standardize the various committee bylaws so that they're more similar to each other. And the planning board, I know that in the discussion with the budget committee, that the additional members were called alternate members. But in the interest of consistency, the planning board ordinance, which has to be changed by the voters, calls their alternate / associate members, they call them associate members. So it just seemed that if we were going to try to have consistent language, it might be better to take the planning board language, since the budget committee bylaws only have to be approved by the select board and not by the town at a town meeting vote. So that's why that would under the bottom of the first page talks about associate members. Elsewhere, you know, a sort of alternate or associate. Which did we want to do?
Yeah, it would seem to me if our goal is to eventually get all the committees to have the same rules and the same alternates, that we use the same language, and if we can change it here by associate and not have to go to a vote because it's an ordinance, it would make sense to follow the ordinance language,
Right.
to me.
So you want to go from the committee membership and just get rid of the word alternate? Just-
I would do to associate
And
members.
just use associate. Sarah, are you happy with the word associate in your ordinance?
I'm okay.
Yeah, we don't want to change it and then have you guys want to change your language.
Yeah, if you're gonna change yours to alternate, you better let us know now.
Penny's here too. Are you okay with that, Penny?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, yeah. And George.
Whatever.
And Craig's here too, right?
The associate will
And
be,
Craig.
the alternate will be now the associate.
Just be called associate.
Right, right. And there's no difference in the function, it's just to try to standardize the bylaws among the different committees.
Right, so we're all set.
So move? Or are you moving it?
Oh, good.
I move we approve the budget committee, changes as, noted.
Seconded, all those in favor? Five.
Okay.
One, two, three.
Maybe appointments and resignations, the budget committee met and reviewed applications for, open positions. We had two resignations, and then of course tonight you just approved, two associate positions, so we have 4 positions open. The budget committee met, reviewed those and made recommendations to the select board, which you have on your memo as part of your packet. We do have Jillian, Anthony is here tonight. I was thinking Ron Cheatham. Okay, good. There's Ron. Kathy couldn't make it. She had a surgery scheduled that
Okay.
she could not get out of. It was scheduled several months ago.
The budget committee recommendation.
It's right on the memo.
Okay.
Yep.
Each term, okay. So, we'll start with. First recommendation,
Yep, Jillian. I move we approve Jillian Reel to the budget committee.
second,
Oh, second, I'm sorry.
any discussion on that?
Excuse me, if this is the appropriate time, Tom Dowd, looking at the candidates. Anthony Wilson obviously has the most relevant experience of any of the candidates. And he's being listed as an alternate. I didn't know if the select persons would consider basically bumping him to a primary, or whatever it's called.
I think we generally go with the recommendation from the committee. Committee recommended 2 people as the first 2 as members and then the second 2 as alternates. And as we know, there's a lot of movement on the committees. Not everybody, is able to fulfill their term. So the alternates would have a likely chance of moving up pretty quickly.
That's fine. My 2 cents, that's all.
You have some of the applicants here, why not have each of the applicants make their case to you? So that you can make the decision, I mean, one of you told me previously that, you were gonna take the budget committee's recommendations into consideration, but you'd be making your own decision, and I think it would be appropriate to have each of the applicants stand up and just talk a little bit about what their qualifications are and why it is that they want to serve on the committee.
We generally do that. We invite the candidates to have an opportunity.
I mean, candidates, starting with Julian, wants to.
Sure. Do you mind if I stay up? I used to be able to sit and talk.
Absolutely.
So my name is Jillian Reel. I have been in Belgrade since 2021. I grew up here in central Maine. My parents own a small business in the area, and so I grew up kind of in that working small business, everybody pitches in sort of family. And when we moved back to Maine, which was kind of a dream that we never thought we'd actually get to do, we settled here because my parents were in Oakland and we just fell in love with Belgrade, the school system, the community, the rec department. And now that my daughter is in first grade, we have enough time to get more involved. So trying to think about what that would mean, the budget committee felt like a good place to do that. I know a lot of you have probably seen my face recently. I've been trying to come to as many meetings as I can to get up to speed and make sure that I can do a good job for the community and get the information I need. Professionally, I am an attorney. So I went away for undergrad. I came back to Maine and did an MBA at Thomas College while working full-time at Colby. Then after finishing my MBA, I went to law school. I've been practicing law for about 12 years. So I have experience with municipal law in my current job, with state law and how it impacts the municipalities. I have experience with grant rate fundraising, grant management, financial management, nonprofit financial management. So although I've never done municipal finances and certainly have quite a bit to learn about our particular system, I do have experience working with numbers and thinking about ways to make those numbers something that the average person can understand. My legal practice is providing free legal services to low-income families. So I work for a nonprofit law firm that provides direct services to people in need in our community. So my job is to make the law understandable. And part of what I'm hoping I can do as part of this committee is better understand the systems and help communicate those to everybody else, in addition to contributing to the budget. And when I talk to the budget committee about kind of my why, I think that our kind of our values and who we are as our community is often kind of shown by how we spend our money. You know, it's one thing to say X, Y, or Z, but when we invest in our community or in different infrastructure or our staff, that really shows kind of who we are. And so finding ways to do that responsibly would be my goal. So I'm hoping to get selected to be a full member of the budget committee. I think I've shown a strong interest and I'm certainly willing to put in the work to be helpful as we continue through this transition, moving from, you know, our old budget into our next swing of a year budget in a different system. So I'm on board to do the hard work and I hope you select me.
Thank you.
Ron?
My name's Ron Potts. I'm not a lawyer. Worked 25 years for PPG Industries for the automotive division. We moved back from South Carolina to Maine. We've been here 3.5 years now, not quite 3.5 years. Live on 721 Oakland Road. We're very invested in the community. We have children here, grandchildren and great grandchildren. Have great grandchildren in the Belgrade school system. So I feel not only a civic duty, but a real part of me is here. Lived in Waterville before, happy to live in Belgrade now. And so with the PPG company, I was a corporate officer and I was responsible for 26 plants. And I always had to do all the, take the sales forecast, make the budget for the 26 plants. So work with numbers, computer, that's about it.
Thank you.
Here? Anthony?
I think I'm a known commodity to most everyone in this room. And I really hope that you guys are gonna pass your two things, qualifications, and who's actually been in the game, who's been engaged. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone to serve on this committee who has masters in public administration, 17 years of municipal budgeting, 5 as a town manager. 4 of those budgets, the tax rate stayed flat while capital reserves grew. In fact, while I was the Belgrade town manager, we managed to keep the mill rate flat all 3 years I was the town manager here. Your assessor at the time said he'd never seen that before. It was unheard of. But not only that, you know, I've attended a lot of these meetings, a lot of the budget meetings. And so I've been contributing to the conversation for years now. And I hope that makes a difference. I think that last year, some of the input that I gave helped to sharpen the budget by several $100,000 to the good taxpayers. I think some of the questions that I've raised about this transitional budget have been very relevant. And, you know, looking at our actual expenditure versus what was being budgeted. And let me tell you, because now I work in a town that has July 1 fiscal year, that's infinitely more difficult to budget for than it is calendar year, because with your calendar year, you actually had actuals that you could look at for the entire year as you were building your budget. That won't be the case here. At least in Winthrop, we're building our budget beginning in January for a fiscal year that begins in July. And last year when we did that, we managed to come within 0.3% of what our budget was. In the good, in the black. And so I think that shows both excellent budgeting and then excellent budget management after that. So again, you know, I've been part of the conversation for a while now, and I hope that that makes a difference. Oh, one other thing. I think that's also been appreciated to some extent too, because on Sunday, Lorna, we were emailing back and forth with about some information regarding this 6-month budget. And she thanked me for, quote, the considerable time you spent reviewing and offering suggestions and asking questions. And I think that specifically is the role of the budget.
And Kathy.
She's not here.
No, she's not.
Great. So it's pleasure to the board.
So I think I already made a motion. Don't we have a motion on the floor to approve Jillian as a full?
Yes, Barbara, you made the motion and Carol has seconded.
Seconded.
Okay, so I would like that motion to stand.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. The next recommendation from the budget committee for the second spot of the voting member was Ron. Anyone want to make a motion for Ron?
Well, we have one person who's not here to state her case. So
Not much we can do. So,
we have,
I think we'll need to go with the folks that are here.
yeah, I agree,
Mhm.
I agree.
Right.
So. Anyone want to make a motion for Ron?
I guess my feeling is we have, in the time I've been on the board, we've always used the recommendation from the committee. So without, there's not a reason, an overpowering reason not to use that. And having served in the budget committee, rarely do you have a meeting that you have your full budget there. So I guess I would follow with the recommendation from the committee and recommend Ronald Hout as the second committee member.
Second. Safe. All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor? 5. And it would be motion to appoint Anthony Wilson as the associate, change the associate.
Yeah, and in the way the bylaws specify a first and second alternate.
And I think that was to be chosen by the committee, wasn't it?
By the select board.
All right, associate.
No, we do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Where the bylaws. Okay. So the bylaws that we approve say the select board will determine a first and second associate such that in the event of one or more absences of full members, The first associate will sit in and vote. The second associate will sit in and vote if the first associate is not present or if two full members are absent. So I would move that we appoint Anthony as first associate
So,
member.
second. I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor? Need to vote. Yeah, okay.
And do we want to wait to hear from Kathy?
No, I mean, we,
Well, and it's supposed to be here to be appointed, so.
Yeah.
yeah,
So then I have to wait to.
that will have to.
So the remaining position will be the second associate.
I missed, who motioned and seconded.
Barbara motioned, I seconded.
So we'll wait.
Yeah. Put her back.
Yeah.
On.
I just have a question. When we met with the budget committee, they advised that there were two different terms. And so I was just curious if, specifically if you identified who would get what term. I have no preference. I just wanted to have clarity.
Well, it says Jillian for the term expiring in 26.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Ron for the term expiring 27. And I guess the alternates are on forever because I think the assumption is that before too long, the alternates would be full members of the committee.
And you'll want to stop into the town office and see Mary, and she'll get you sworn in like within a week or so.
But not on a Wednesday.
Not on the Wednesday.
Oh, we have to do it.
Yes, correct.
That's for property tax exemption.
So Rob brought this to me and he was here last. And I'll read you his memo. I wanted to give the board some information regarding the state statutes that govern property tax exemptions. The Union Church has started building a parsonage on map 9, lot 8-5, Maplehurst Drive. They purchased the land after April 1, 2025, and have obtained a building permit to start construction. I have been approached by members of the church's board to consider granting a full property tax exemption for this parcel. I explained that state statute will allow up to 20,000 of assessed value for a parsonage. As the assessing agent, I must follow statute, but cannot offer any additional consideration. They wanted me to reconsider, and I did not. In your packet, you'll see a letter making a formal request for a full exemption. My stance is they are only entitled to a parsonage exemption following the statute. If the board feels it's in the best interest of the town to consider something additional, you have the authority, authority to do so. And please let me know if there are any questions, Rob. So in your packet, you have the letter and some additional information with regard to this.
Do we have a copy of the state statute?
We did not give one, no.
It's really trying to find out how to believe that we can serve on the state statute.
If you tabled it for the next meeting, I could pull that for you.
We might have a copy here.
Do you?
Michael never leaves home without it at all.
Tom, Dad, basically I was the developer of Maplehurst Farms where the plot of land is located. And I'm not sure if everyone is aware that basically the restrictive covenants on the lots on the subdivision that specify residential only and non-commercial. And reading the letter, it looks,
You gave me one.
yeah, essentially that the parsonage is essentially gonna potentially take the role of the church. And that's seems to be the reason to ask for the exemption. So the concern I have, obviously, in the other lots in the subdivision is that this one would be treated differently. If it was to give it a non-tax status, and it seems to be potentially in conflict with the, basically what was approved by the planning board as far as residential only subdivision. And the other thing I want to point out is to the board, and you probably already thought of this, is you start to go in this direction. And for example, on Scribner Lane, I have a house that every Sunday has about 12 to 15 cars that show up for religious services. And I'm sure there are potentially other ministers residing in the town of Belgrade. I think the parsonage exemption is reasonable. I think once you start going down the route of reinterpreting above and beyond state law, you go down a slippery slope. And I certainly think the Union Church is a wonderful organization. I just don't see the need to go this route. And I think potentially the people on Maplehurst Drive, sounds like you could end up with 10 cars parked out on Maplehurst Drive for a church meeting, basically, at the parsonage, by my reading of this.
May we present our case to the select? So, thank you. Good evening. My name's Audrey Powell. I am here on behalf of Union Church in Belgrade Village. I'm the chair of the finance committee and prepared the outline that was sent to the select board. And just wanted to be here to represent our request for your consideration and to first ask if you had a chance to read the outline that we sent and to see if you had any questions, because our reason for being here is, of course, to answer any questions, to provide clarity, and to help present our case. So,
have you built anything on the parcel already, or is it just a piece of land?
they are pouring the foundation,
Foundation's in, they started to
septic is in,
take care of the heating system.
and yeah, so we expect it to be completed by
We hope this spring.
April. Yeah, the existing parsonage, as it was mentioned in your letter, is up on Tracy Cove. And the church is trying to reduce carrying costs and to provide a home for our pastors that is handicap accessible, all on one floor, and energy efficient. So that was the main purpose, also wanting to tie it into the actual village. Instead of the parsonage being in Rome, we would want it to be in Belgrade along with the church that's right there in the middle of the village. So wanting to have that connection right here in town. And of course, our outline to you talks about all the different things that the church does, and that monies that would be spent on taxes would better be spent on programs for the schools, the campership funds and things like that. And currently the parcel is paying about $300 in taxes as an undeveloped parcel. And if an abatement were allowed or an exception, it would have very little effect on the existing tax rolls. So just wanted to emphasize that, but mostly to highlight all the different programs, which of course you have in your outline there. So can I offer any clarification or answer any questions? Yes, Barbara.
Is that good? Audrey, I have a question, based on what Tom had said, that, if the covenants, are residential only, it seems like you're wanting to have Bible study classes, committee meetings, counseling sessions, and, other activities at the parsonage. Did you previously offer those activities at the house in Tracy Cove?
That's a really good point. And the reason they have not, and I'm relatively new with the church, about 5 years, but I don't know if in the past they did. The house has the living quarters up on the second floor. with a narrow stairway to lead up to it. And one of the reasons we haven't had meetings or holiday gatherings or anything like that, that a residents would also do, is it wasn't accessible to many people. So no, it has not been used for that, but that's been the main reason for it. We would have liked to, but it wasn't a great setting for that.
It does,
Michael?
it does sound, does sound to me that with what Tom gave us, they would not be allowed to do that.
To do,
Anything other than the residential particular law.
okay, so I understand that it's to be non-commercial. The church is a non-profit. It is not commercial, I wouldn't think, but that's, I don't want to enter into an area where I shouldn't. These are more social. That we're not conducting church services there. So it would be ancillary or peripheral sorts of gatherings, which might be perceived as more social than official.
Mike has a question.
I have a question. I'd like to address something some of the things that were said. Number one, by definition, a parsonage is a residence. It's the pastor's residence. As far as meetings that we'll have there, the kinds of meetings we're talking about are very small, a couple of people at a time. We already have, we have one resident on the town who has several large pool parties every year. And there are a number of cars, which is not bothering anybody. They have a number of cars that makes noise because it's a party. So we're able to live with it, and it's not a problem. As far as the church being commercial, the church is not commercial any more than any other church is commercial. At least the churches in this area. So I mean, I frankly, I find it rather insulting that somebody should say that. What we plan to do is provide a residence that is accessible. Our discipline requires that the parsonage be ADA compliant. The one we have now is not. So that if somebody wants to come in to have a council with the pastor, they can do it, but we're not talking about the whole church. We're talking about a few people or one person at a time. So we can see that concerns that Tom's raising are true concerns. So that's basically it. You have something else to ask me. And I don't mean Tom to be down on me, I just think the wrong idea.
I'm just going by what was submitted.
Yeah.
Tom, what part of the covenants here are you citing?
No, I'm going by the submission of the Union Church where it says.
Oh.
The new parsonage will handicap accessible for church gatherings. In addition to providing a residence for our pastor, programs such as Bible study classes, committee meetings, and counseling sessions are among the activities under consideration at the new parsonage. So essentially, I think when we're my interpretation is, and Michael can disagree, is that they're trying to take the parsonage more into the realm of the tax exempt church, so that essentially the entire property is tax exempt. That seems to be where we're headed with this. But I guess the only other question I have is the Rome parsonage tax exempt?
I believe 50%. I believe they have a 50% abatement. Because the church just is not in Rome. That Rome gave a 50% abatement as opposed to the full 100%.
Parsonage is not used for anything but in residence. And 50% is on residence.
It may be that if this is something that was approved by the planning board, that may mean that there needs to be a conversation with the planning board interpretation and what the church is looking to do, that they may not be able to do those pieces. I mean, that would be, if the planning board approved it as one, we'd need to make sure that we were appropriate to what the approval was.
I would just like to clarify.
Yeah.
The church's primary intention is a residence for the pastor. Primary. far above number one, distance to number two. Primary purpose is residence for the pastor. As long as it is an accessible and comfortable place for the extended church family to be welcomed in, to be hospitable, to include the community, to include the neighbors. Things like that, we feel are important in the spirit and the life of a church and community. And our request is that we can do more for the community in our programs, in our donations to all the different things that we support, if we weren't paying taxes on the property. And a number of the things that we do even go to helping the town with the programs that they run at the Center for All Seasons, the sailing school, a number of things that we can do that actually could save taxes. So we would hope that it would be considered as a win-win for both the church and the town.
Well, I know I can't make a decision without seeing the state statute status.
Right.
I mean, I just did look up whether a church parsonage is considered a commercial property. And I think we're gonna have to put that to our lawyer, because looking it up, it says a church parsonage is often considered a commercial property for zoning and building code purposes, even though it functions as a residence, because it's associated with a commercial or institutional building such as a church. It's held to a higher standard due to public safety concerns. So we're gonna have to find out what is classified as the status. I mean, that part of it doesn't really concern us as far as the tax part, but it may concern people that live there, that they may decide to sue the church. If it goes through, if they don't lose it, it's just a residence. But I wanna see the state statute on.
Right, and I would like to find out a little bit more about what other towns do in this kind of a situation.
I have no doubt that the church does great work.
No, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
just need to make sure that we're doing this the right way.
In that case, I move we table this until our next meeting so we can get the proper documentation that people want. And then make an informed decision.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Zero.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
I'm just gonna set this in the phone, but yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their insurance was that that's very fire over the building. So it's all in the, but that it's not.
I'll pull the statute and I'll send it right over to Phil.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, everyone. Next is request for one item consideration.
So planning board chair Sarah Langat will be present to discuss with the board a request to add a warrant article to the January town meeting warrant. It's my understanding that planning board as a whole has reviewed this request and approved it to move forward. We have several members of the planning board here, as well as Tyler and his gentleman. So the warrant article reads, shall the town amend the town of Belgrade shoreline zoning map adopted by the town on May 19, 1997 for the purpose of rezoning land along Belgrade Stream identified as lots 3 and 19D on the current town of Belgrade tax map 3 from resource protection to limited residential. And there is an explanation that we are legally allowed to add underneath, and that reads, the Belgrade Planning Board has determined that based on updated natural resource mapping for these two lots, they do not meet the criteria in the town's shoreline zoning ordinance to be classified as a resource protection district. These parcels need to be updated to limited residential to comply with the town's ordinance, and such amendments require a town vote. And I did send this over to MMA Legal for their review, and they did approve this as it is written.
Quite a few good answer from the last time as to the original 97 one. Was that down at secret ballot? or-
That was referendum. It says it right on the map. We did, yeah, it's right on the map. It's actually in Hans's room if you want to see it. No, don't.
We were just trying to make sure. 'Cause
Yeah.
We talked about whether we want to do it on the town floor or we want to continue, since it was done a referendum, do a referendum.
Right, I don't think there's anything in main statute that says you have to do it.
No, I don't think there's anything.
You know, yeah, the board has complete authority.
I move that we approve the amendment. The amendment to the Town of Belgrade Shoreline zoning map. As presented.
Second. Oh, I raise you. Is there any?
Is there any discussion? Because I mean, you're approving it to go through January town meeting.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Sarah?
So, I will ask if there's any questions in the room that need to be aired out related to this warrant that they're asked now. If we have all the powers to answer questions tonight. Here, we have all the expertise and people from the planning board here. So if there are any questions tonight, or there were before that are not clear out yet, this is the time to do the questions.
I would think it would be better to have it on the floor so people concerned can come and ask questions at the meeting rather than voting.
Anybody else have any?
We don't have to decide that tonight.
Bruce has a question.
If it is on the floor, you could always. To keep it so it's a secret ballot, and still discuss it on the floor, and then somebody could request a secret ballot on the floor, and then it'd still be considered a secret ballot, correct?
Don't we have to have a certain amount of people approve the secret, was it
Correct.
65% or something?
At
Mary?
the meeting,
At the meeting,
yeah,
yeah,
which is happening, that's happening.
right,
Yes. But that, I mean, the option if folks
That
want.
should be an option, so it won't delay it going to, to the voters, and that way you have the option to, so it kind of stays the same. It was done by it was accepted by secret ballot 97. You do by secret ballot on the floor after discussion, make sure discussion happens if need be, if anybody wants to do any discussion. And then somebody move to take a vote to go to secret ballot and then go, that was there, you keep the same statute along.
But if nobody asks that, it could continue, it could be voted
it
on.
could just be voted.
Right.
over.
Unless somebody challenged it, yeah.
And if someone challenges it, you then have to make sure there are enough people who still want to do the secret ballot.
Yeah.
And that does not always pass.
Oh, that's a secret
So-
ballot, it might not pass.
Yeah,
Right.
Sarah?
Sarah?
Yeah, I have, another statement to make about that. So, I really appreciate that the conversation about this particular change in the map be close up today with the warrant. Because for a month and a half, there have been discussion in this forum that had really fan claims that were unnecessary and out of protocol. So I just wish that the right protocol is used to forward complaints that have been disclosed here. And then put a lot of people on alarms, well, that was decided this way, what was publicly decided, and there are questions about it afterwards. So I will appreciate that happened here tonight. We have other stuff to do in the planning board than rather to be concerned about the same topic over and over again. One, and second, the kind of the last question that can come about, it says in the warrant that there's a mapping, as the reason why we're putting this to the warrant is because there's an updated natural resource map. Okay, so we have evidence presented to the planning board about that map. But even with these last questions, they have on the concern of how that map was developed. And I would like the gentleman here to clarify that if that's appropriate. So the map that flight capture provide to the planning board, the question will be is how that map was developed. What was the information that was used to translate into the map?
And actually, one of the questions I was gonna ask is, I'd like to know how they came up with the designation as wetlands. Now it's not, it's something change or.
I can try. So if you look at, and this may have been the previous shoreline resource protection mapping, may have been reliant upon what's called national wetland inventory mapping. So this is very commonly, it's been done by the US Fish and Wildlife Service. It covers the entire US and it's done by sort of remote sensing. They look at aerial photographs and based on the land cover that they see, they estimate wetland boundaries. What I have done on this parcel is a site-specific formal wetland delineation. And so it's based on the 3 parameters that I mentioned earlier. So I go out there in the rain sometimes, or was rainy that day when I did this work with a soil logger and a field notebook, and I hang kind of pink flags with a sequenced number, and I work my way through the woods and I look at where there's a hydric soil, which is there's a process you go through to evaluate what is a hydric soil and what's an upland soil. And so I'm defining kind of the line where it's hydric soil, where the predominance of hydrophytic vegetation, so like sensitive fern versus grafting fern, red maple versus a white pine. There are vegetation that grows exclusively in wetlands and there are vegetation that grows in uplands. And I'm also looking for, watermarks, standing water, rack lines. There's a bunch of criteria involved in essentially performing this formal wetland delineation. And so I walk the entire parcel, pick up all the lines, I pick up the jurisdictional streams. Then I had a GPS technician come out to the site with a survey grade Trimble, pick up each one of my flags, and then that field data was transposed onto the map that we're talking about here. And so what's represented on that map are the boundaries of the jurisdictional natural resources present within the footprint of my survey area, which is the property. And so there are different sort of types of resources you can see on the map. There are jurisdictional streams that are identified in addition to the wetlands. These are areas that contain evidence of flowing water for more than 6 months in a year. They're devoid of upland vegetation, presence of wetland vegetation, mineral stream bed. And so those are some features that were found out there as well. And so, yeah, what you're seeing is certainly better, more accurate than a national wetland inventory map, that remote sensing piece that oftentimes municipalities use to determine this broad brush of resource protection within their communities. Can't speak specifically to what was done here in Belgrade, but it's fairly common for NWI mapping to be used to just get an idea of what's out there. And so if you look at this area from an aerial photo, I can see why immediately proximate to the river, that evergreen vegetation, it's very sort of level in that location where, from a remote sensing perspective, it might make sense. I'm pretty sure it's wetland on the other side of the river in a very similar kind of geography. But, I've been out there, I put my auger in the ground, I checked the vegetation, and for indicators of hydrology, and it's an upland area immediately adjacent to the river there, which is, somewhat unique. Given the characteristics of the surrounding area. I could keep talking about this for hours, to be honest, but I want to make sure that, I get to, there's a very specific methodology that I follow as a scientist in determining what these boundaries are. It's kind of like an accepted industry practice. And so, those criteria are used by all, wetland scientists that are performing this type of work. In the state of Maine and, hopefully, across New England.
Am I correct that DEP has agreed that this needs to be changed based on what the information is?
I haven't had any direct interaction with DEP, but
Okay,
this follows the methodology that they would expect to be employed, on conducting a formal wetlands delineation.
Okay.
I would speak to that.
Yeah, they just stated that if they're presented with an updated map, they will approve it within a reasonable timeframe.
I mean, just for me, it seems as though if we have the science there, we need to follow the science, which it looks like you have done.
That is definitely.
That's one person's opinion.
So,
Go ahead first.
I'm interested that, you talk about the map being done with a broad brush. And then I'm just curious as to how many of these situations, how often do these situations come up where the broad brush isn't quite right? And, going in and really doing the kind of research that you do, makes a different land use appropriate. Is this fairly common or?
Almost every single time.
Oh.
So that's one of the reasons why when the DEP looks to permit something or make a change, they require site-specific information. Because, a remote sensing approach is never going to be appropriate for a basic regulatory decision on. So they look to have something like this done, so they know what are the specific conditions on that parcel. Because it depends on the project type. Is it residential? Is it commercial? What are the setbacks to the hard line right on the ground? Where does that resource boundary exist? So, to issue an ERPA permit, this is kind of a must do if you're permitting any kind of project from the DEP's perspective.
I'm just curious how many other questions like this might come up in similar.
Anybody can turn around and hire him to go and look at any piece of land.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sarah?
I really appreciate the explanation, because I think it will settle a lot of concerns and any misconstructions probably that have been done. Now, the other question I will ask you, if I can ask him directly, I don't know. Okay, is this surveying and analysis that you may speak of only this circumstantial time this year, or it translate back to few years back, your findings? How your findings speak of the fact that land have been like that for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years. So, or it's just this snapshot that you had when you surveyed the land.
So, obviously we live in a dynamic landscape where things do change over time, but, soils in particular, it takes hundreds of years to develop some of these features that we see, like a clay matrix. It takes, that piece of land to essentially be saturated during the growing season year after year after year, so that you are depleting the matrix or sort of removing iron and sesqui oxides from the upper horizons in that soil. And so the DEP will typically accept a wetland that's up to 10 years old. So if I inform this wetland today, the DEP would not expect conditions to change for a minimum. They wouldn't expect anything to have changed in that environment for 10 years. And so, obviously, some years we get more rain, some years we get less rain, but like that, big red maple that's growing in a swamp, it takes more than just a year or two for that tree to grow. And that's a key indicator that that's in a wetland, that red maple versus, a large red oak that's in an upland area that's maybe been there for 100 years. It's not, so those systems take a long time to develop, and especially on this site, most of the wetlands are forested. And so the trees that are growing in the uplands versus the wetlands have been either growing in a wet or a dry environment for, 50 or 60 years. And so, we're not looking at seasonal change of these wetland boundaries. You may see them shift 3 or 4 feet, maybe, depending on herbaceous vegetation, but the woody vegetation that's out there persists. And those are, so the key indicators of sort of wetlands versus uplands. Wish I had a whiteboard so I could draw it. But so, and the methodology are developed intentionally. So there isn't a lot of that seasonal change, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to delineate the line that sort of merits protection. And so making sure that where those saturated conditions exist every spring, every single year, we know where that line is demarcated, because we don't want to see people putting a septic system or a home, you know, into this jurisdictional wetland. Because not only is that an environmental impact, but right, it's a problem, you know, for the person who decides to put a structure or a septic system there. So it's kind of double, triple, quadruple that. And so, you know, the methodologies that we employ are intended to identify persistent seasonal high water, where that wetland is year after year after year.
So I guess, you are doing beautifully professional scientific dialogue, amazing. Okay. My question directly to you, your analysis says that it's not a wetland and it can go back to probably 5-10 years. Is that correct?
Or more. The DEP will accept a wetland delineation that's up to 10 years old. If there's a forested wetland, you know, those trees that are growing.
You're confusing me on that.
Sorry.
Because you did the analysis in the last 2 years. So you're saying that if you do it now, from here now to the next 10 years, it's good. It's no wetland for the next 10 years.
Sure.
I'm asking you, you did the analysis now and asking backwards. That goes 5-10 years
50 plus.
backwards.
Yeah, more than that. So, you know, the wetland delineation that I perform is still valid today, will be into the future. So again, these are not.
That dry land, no wetland, have been there for more than probably 5-10 years.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, so, you know, the upland trees.
So when this process, you did 4 samples of the land, 4 soil samples?
I do, so when I determine the wetland and upland boundary, I core constantly, you know, hundreds of times. I sink the auger into the wetland, I pull it up, it's histic, it's depleted. I look at the upland, it's a nice righteous red.
So you should have a report with all those 4 samples.
I don't have a report of the 4 samples. So we did 3rd plots that fed into this analysis. I do think Tyler hired another scientist to do soil testing. Which is different than what
Yeah.
we need.
Well, that was more for, I think, the purpose of that, Tyler might correct me on this one. The purpose of that was more to the fact of this deciding where the septic systems might be developed or placed in the lot. Is that correct, Tyler?
Check park, correct, yep.
So I guess we have been talking the same thing over email time.
Yes.
Cool. So anyways, thank you for being here. And I really thank you for that clarification.
Sure, and you know, I'm certainly not here to influence outcomes. I just want to make sure that the best science is presented here, and that you guys, everybody is getting kind of answers to the questions about the methodology and the findings that are shown in the map.
So the lots being developed, there's only 2 of them that need to be changed.
No, that is the large parcel, so the tax map hasn't been updated for the subdivided lots, they fall under lot 3, that's mine, and 19D is the adjacent lot that has the same soils. So all the new subdivided lots are out of map 3, lot 3.
Okay. How many lots are? No.
6.
We had,
None of them are in the wetland or even near it. So there's no section of the wetland that fall in the boundaries of the 6 subdivided lots.
so besides his location where the so-called subdivision is gonna be, we adding another 2 lots, isn't it, Mr. Seal? No, 26. I thought that, in this brush of, changing from, resource protection to limited residential, there were other 2 lots adjacent to that location that needs to be changed to. Yeah,
George Seal on the planning board as well. Tyler, kind of already explained this, currently there are 2 lots. One larger lot that Tyler has received, from the planning board with a unanimous vote, approval to subdivide into 6 lots. And there's one other lot that's, that has the same soil conditions and all the other attributes that, indicate that it is not in resource protection. But once, as Tyler mentioned, that subdivision was only approved last month. So there hasn't been any opportunity to revise the tax map, or for that matter, I don't know if the plot plan's already been, placed in the registry of deeds, but, so, if there's a overlap here. We had motion.
Did we
Yes,
move it?
Barbara made a motion and Carol seconded.
Yeah, so we just need to vote.
So on discussion now?
I'm all set.
Yeah.
Everyone else?
All right,
Yes, thank you.
all right, all those in favor of putting it to the January meeting? 5. Nobody wants to, have a motion on the floor to do it in secret ballot, they can do it there then.
And how does that work in the moment? So that's, just to clarify, at town meeting, if someone makes a motion to go secret, it still occurs at that time during.
It does,
Right.
yeah, it does.
They would do
It
it
would be a
right there.
percentage of the people that are there. And the moderator would say,
Percentage have to approve it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they have little cards, they do it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same vote we did for the fire station.
we've done it at different, yeah, so.
Yeah.
And it might not even come to that if nobody breaks it.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You're good?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted this to move forward or keep it for a next meeting and parcel off 135 on the social meeting that. The gal wanted to go to the town and you all had quite a lengthy.
We had a big discussion
decided that you wanted to do that, so. They're finally ready.
They're ready?
Yeah.
I'm fine taking up tonight. I don't know if anyone else wants more time.
That's the parcel that's.
It's there at 135 and Penny Road. Yeah.
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 Penny, Knowles Road?
Knowles Road.
Knowles Road. Knowles Road.
Knowles Road and 135.
Oh, yeah, Mill.
Manchester Road and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to do it tonight?
What are we doing?
We'd be accepting it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Map showing the property.
I didn't include it, I just printed what they sent over to me and I just forwarded out. To all of you, it's that very tiny, it's a very tiny.
Yeah, very
slip.
tiny.
Strip, it has the culvert that goes through and.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a lot of people stop and they just walk in there and fish.
People race
The
there.
one that
Yes.
stick boats in through.
I think you could stick a
Is that-
kayak.
Yeah, kayak, you
Yes.
couldn't launch anything else, could you, Bruce?
No.
Really?
Just a kayak.
Area in, and then people ice fish there in the winter,
Yeah.
and can party.
Big ice fishing
Yeah.
area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
They say ask for that big, if you want, I said.
I move we accept the parcel of land from the estate of Freeman Robert Rowe to the town of Belgrade.
Second.
Now we're getting back into getting more than 20 pieces of land.
What?
Now we're getting back into town owned these little pieces of land like we tried to get rid of down in the village.
The difference is this, it gives the residents of Belgrade water access.
It does.
To the stream
Yeah.
further down.
Yeah.
I think that was the conversation before.
Still in the way.
Another organization likely would have stepped in to grab that, but
And
you
this,
all had
this,
discussed it, and decided that you wanted to,
I mean, you can't clear any of the, I mean, you can't clear it, you're not gonna get more parking there.
just gonna maintain it.
right.
It's sort of, it may encourage people to park where they shouldn't park, but they'll park there anyway, so, and have been.
They do, yeah, they do.
I think we might want to work with Seven Lakes Alliance to see, you know, if there's anything that we could do to
Right,
help
to help
with the
manage
water
it.
quality issues, because that stream is full
Mhm.
full of milfoil.
Yes.
It is full of milfoil.
Alright, I'm all set if you guys wanna. Want me to vote? All those in favor? 7 p.m. 5-0.
Okay.
Mary's got a question.
Mary,
Eric?
Yes, no, I was just curious as to what our insurance liability would be on the maintenance of that space. I know it's a small space, it's a generous offer, but it does come with an insurance, and what will be our responsibility as a municipality for any of those costs.
We can check into it. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a minimum because it's
very small.
not, I don't think it's any worse than what we have at the public beach or anything else.
Right.
We'll have to know because we're gonna have to budget for it.
I mean, there's no stairs there, there's no railing,
No,
it's pretty much
Yeah.
little strip.
There's no formal entrance to anything.
But I don't know as a municipality, we can just put up a sign.
Give their own risk.
Yep.
So. I don't know, we'll have to find out for sure.
Okay.
If it doesn't work out. Get rid of it.
Right. We'll give it back.
Alright. Thank you. The business warrants. First warrant is number 30, AP warrant, in the amount of $8,862.22.
Move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Second one is warrant number 131, $27,120.49. That's a payroll warrant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Next one, warrant 132. AP warrant $711,779.32.
You can always tell when that school bill comes
Yeah,
in,
right.
can't you?
Well,
Bill, filing bill. I didn't see anything. I
Yeah,
had questions.
Nothing caught my eye.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Did I say move to approve?
No.
Oh, move to approve.
Second.
Nobody saw it, anything that jumped out at them?
No.
No more discussion, so all those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Warrant number 133. Is for $2,792.31.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 4-0 against. And the warrant 134. Payroll warrant $24,829.83.
Good for
Second.
Second on that one. All those in favor? 3, 4, 5.
I attended or attended leadership meetings with staff on November 6th and 14th. Employee handbook review meeting, November 6th, department head and safety committee meeting, November 7th. Lakes and Natural Resources Committee meeting, November 13th, and budget meeting, November 17th. I'll be meeting with RSU 18 Superintendent Andrew Carlton this Friday, November 21. We received word from both, as announced earlier, from both Senator Collins and King's offices that our congressionally directed spending CBS grant application has been approved through the Senate, the House, and signed by the President as part of the reopening and funding of the federal government. MMA will be present for the department head meeting December 5 to go over insurance updates during the open enrollment period. The annual holiday luncheon for employees will be held Friday, December 19th. We would like to request the board to consider closing all facilities from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. so that all employees would have the opportunity to attend. In addition, we would respectfully request the select board to cover the cost or consider the cost of $600 to cover food and supplies for the event out of its special projects expense line. You currently have a balance available of just over $1,600. We did had a good suggestion from Kenny at the transfer station for a taco bar. Yeah,
For what?
taco bar.
Oh, taco.
That'd be fun. So just that with, soda and maybe some cookies or cupcakes or something and paper plates, napkins, simple. But just an opportunity for everyone to get together and celebrate the holiday.
Would we also at that recognize?
Yes, yeah, I have a list.
Yeah.
I'll get you, are you helping me?
I'm willing to. help.
Okay, thank you. I'll get the list.
Okay.
It's not too long.
No, sure, it wasn't too bad.
The board may want to consider putting an RFP out for winter maintenance or snow plowing services as the current contract ends in May of 27. If our current contractor does not want to continue, it will take some time to find a new provider of those services. And I'm guessing Cummings will still want to continue, but we should do
be
it sooner
prepared.
versus later.
We have a contingency clause.
We don't. We don't. It was just a 3-year contract.
Now, when they came and met with us last time, he did
He did
indicate
express.
he wanted a longer one to buy more equipment.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but it is, I've double checked it and I even sent it over to Phil, just for legalities and.
So we
yeah.
can't extend, we'll have to RFP it.
Yeah, we can't extend it. It's just 3 years.
Send out a new
Mel
RFP.
has a question.
Go ahead.
Hi. So we've never pushed out a year into a contract to look potentially for the next contract. I would hate for them to think that we're attempting to push them out so that we could take over or some sort of fashion. So would it make more sense to maybe put that out next year and give them a chance to have 2 years under their belt before we put out an RFP when they've accepted a 3-year contract?
I mean, I'm honestly, I don't, my personal opinion, I wouldn't want to put it out till next spring at the end of the winter season anyway.
My concern is when we were looking at what were we going to do if we couldn't find a contractor, it takes you 2 years to get the equipment. If we had the money in our grubby little hand to order it. So if we wait until spring.
Carol, I
then-
don't know. I just think that seems to me to look, if I were the contractor on the other side of this, and I don't want to bring up another contractor, but at the last meeting, we had someone else that we had a contract with. And yet we approached other people for a quote. And I hate the fact that I feel like this is going to undermine the integrity of the town of Belgrade, because it looks like we accept a contract with someone and then perhaps we're not going to honor our own side of that contract. So these folks came before the board. They went above and beyond. They did exactly what, when we were discussing this contract that the Warren brothers had offered to come to the town and provide, which was guidance on what they used for equipment and how much it took and how many man hours. And they were the ones with the expertise, but they weren't asked to come to the table for this public works group session that everybody had, the ad hoc committee. And these folks went to them and asked them not only for their expertise, but asked to ride along. They purchased the equipment that they had. I feel like they have done more than their due diligence to show that they're willing to be a long-term contractor for Belgrade, and talked about it being multi-generational. So if I were that person on the other side of that, I would feel like if we were going to put this out this far in advance, that is a slap in the face. And I would hope that that's not the avenue that the town is taking.
I think it might be helpful, Mel, for them, and just thinking in terms of, getting financing to purchase new equipment. If they are able to show the bank that they have a signed contract, which takes them a few more years down the road. I don't think we mean to undermine them or,
Not at all. We wanna
yeah,
lock them up.
that's not. We want them to continue.
I think that if they came to the town and requested that, that would be one thing.
They
For
did.
us to determine what they need, I think that
Mel.
that's a totally different ballgame.
Melanie, they did come to us and say that.
Okay, so they came to us and they asked if we would put out a contract potentially for an RFP for another 3-year contract beyond what they're already considering.
They wanted a longer contract so they could buy new equipment.
Because he explained how long it would take to get equipment. He wanted a longer commitment from us so that he could continue to go forward, and his kids felt the same way, which we thought was great.
So it's the effort really to help him and to secure him here with us.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess I didn't get that piece of the information, and I was like, oh my goodness, we can't do that to someone who just agreed to do something.
I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your insight now. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
so as we all know, they came to the select board requesting a longer contract. So the other thing is if we do go out to RFP, I think when we do a contract, it should be like a waste management contract. They can negotiate up to 5 years on the contract. That way there will help, I can't remember how it's done. Lauren knows better on how that contract is done, but.
Yes.
That way there, it gives them, like we all know, gives them buying power to be able to buy equipment. Shows them that the town's giving them a little bit of an investment to, we're investing into them to rely on them for the snowplow and sanding contract. So, I wish there's a way we could just negotiate the contract, not go out to RFP, but I don't think there is.
There isn't legally, that's why I checked with Phil, because I know we're super happy with that.
What I would do is if we decide to go out sooner than later, I would actually contact them first before we send out an RFP.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And tell them,
Yes.
you guys have done a great job. We're doing this now because it allows you to do this, and if you choose not to, it allows us the time to find somebody different.
Yes.
Agree.
So if we're gonna do that, we talk to them first before we do the RFP.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think you ought to include that up to a 5-year, it's a 3-year with 2 options. I think that's how we do the waste management. It's a 3-year with 2 optional years.
And we
Yeah, whatever we can do so that.
It's legal.
Yeah.
Because again, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot less people complaining about mailboxes too. Yeah, so.
Well, you've done a good job. I don't know.
Melanie stand up again. I just
Still,
Did you have another question, Mel?
No, not a question. 100% in. So I apologize, but I'm like, okay, so hearing all that, I like the sound of that conversation and it makes me feel way better.
Okay,
Good, yeah.
take your hand back now so we don't, doesn't confuse us.
She's not.
All right, so. Why don't we talk to them first before we make this decision?
Yeah, I'll get hold
You
of
know,
them.
we're thinking about, no, we're thinking about sending out the RFP sooner than later because.
And maybe we say in response to the conversation you had with us about funding.
Yeah.
So that we include them in it.
Right.
All right, continue on here. Let's see, we're still awaiting final updates on the field use agreement for the Workman Field, and then we'll bring that back to the select board for review and consideration.
Why is that take so long?
Because we're waiting for people to be elected
On the board.
as leadership on the board, yes.
They're just looking, he's thinking about it, but they need 4 officers right now.
The last artisan fair for 25 is scheduled for December 6th, which is also the annual holiday stroll. The village parking lot will be closed after the holiday stroll for the winter season. We have a notice posted to fill the local health officer appointed position. There are new applicants yet. We've also posted a notice for our emergency fuel assistance program with a link to information on our website and Facebook page. The program helps residents who do not qualify for general assistance, but need help with heating their home December through April. We have been able to help 2 families in the last month. Additional information can be found, and I've given the link, so when that's included in the minutes posted online, people can get that. The select board may want to consider the extension of committee and board members to expire June 30, 2026. Right now they're March because we were doing town meeting in March. The select board may also want to consider the extension of annual municipal employee appointments to also expire June 30, 2026. We would respectfully request the select board consider closing facilities at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, December 24 for the Christmas holiday. The town office is closed because we're closed Wednesdays, but we still have many other facilities with employees working on Christmas Eve. We would also respectfully request the select board consider closing facilities at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, December 31 for the New Year's holiday, same situation. The Senior Resources Committee will be holding its annual holiday gathering at the North Belgrade Community Center on Saturday, December 13 from 1 to 3 p.m. with a sing-along and refreshments with the rides.
Just as an aside, we're closed Christmas Day. The day after Christmas, we're open?
We are.
Okay. And the day after New Year's, we're open?
We are.
Okay.
Back to your, I will meet with superintendent. I
Yes,
thought we requested that the superintendent come meet with all of us.
yes, he will, but he's meeting with me first.
Okay,
Yep, just
as
introduction.
long as that doesn't.
Yeah, no, we'll have him here.
Okay.
So do we need to approve the $600 for the holiday party tonight, or can that wait until next week? Next meeting?
It could, I suppose, but if you were willing to do it tonight, that would.
So let's just do it on the next meeting and have it as an agenda item. Same thing with all the closings and stuff that really shouldn't be agenda items.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Versus-
on the closings, I have a kind of a comment on that. Christmas Eve is fine. New Year's Eve, most businesses are open to at least 5 or 6. That's gonna make it very difficult for commercial haulers. To go into the transfer station to have 2 consecutive Wednesdays closed early.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So you gotta take that into consideration. Most of the commercial haulers on other days. The other transfer stations have other routes. So it's gonna really inconvenience your commercial haulers doing two consecutive weeks in a row.
And didn't we have The after-school program, was there anything? They should,
Well,
they're
check.
gonna be, they'll be closed.
Well, won't they be kids zone?
Right, so I don't.
Question on that.
Yeah.
Schools are closed, so be basically.
Right, but that-
Got going on, but they do.
But on those Wednesdays, couldn't the transfer station open earlier?
Check with Kenny, but we could
One
open it.
o'clock, 1 o'clock's not gonna really work for commercial hall, what do you want to start?
No, could they open in the morning and be open from
They open at.
like 7 to 3 instead of
Right, yeah.
11 to 7
Right,
Yeah.
yes. They probably could do that.
For those
Yeah.
2 days.
for those
Yeah.
2 days?
I mean, Christmas Eve, everybody can understand Christmas Eve but to New Year's Eve, most businesses are open until 5 o'clock.
It's true.
Hmm.
All right, so yeah, let's bring those back as a,
Yeah.
all that stuff back.
That gives us time to think about it.
Yeah, and I said about the kids zone stuff, because I know that was an issue this summer.
Yeah.
Okay. For the new section.
I just have something really quick.
Okay. So do we want to take a quick break?
Take a 5-minute break.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
5-minute break.
We wanna make a.
So I move we leave a regular session at 8:07 and go into an executive session under 1 MRSA subsection 4056A.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
That,
Sorry. Go ahead.
At 8:17, and that no action was taken during the executive session.
second.
All those in favor?
I move we adjourn at 8:17.
Second.
All those in favor?
That was a lot of stuff in one
That
minute.
was. You did a lot in that 8:17.
In and out and done. So.